Welcome everyone. Welcome at the lecture about youth collective singing, new forms of youth collective singing. I'm Claudia Franzen, I'm from the Netherlands, and I'm project leader at the Dutch Choral Association, Koornetwerk Nederland, and I focus on children and youth singing. Besides that, I'm also a conductor and artistic leader of the Limburgse Koorschool in Maastricht. It's in the south of the Netherlands, and where I work with 4-year-olds up till 20 in several choirs. And I teach music at the conservatorium. I am a teacher at the conservatorium in Maastricht, where I teach the first-year students of the Bachelor of Music and Education, and I work in primary schools. So in a week, I see several kind of ages and people. And I studied music and education and also a master in Kodai concept in The Hague and in Hungary. But today we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how to build new choirs for children, how to organize new singing groups so that we can reach more children. But first, I want to know who you are. So please stand up if you are a conductor of children choirs. And it is possible that you have to stand up maybe more often. Okay. Thank you. If you are a conductor of an adult choir, or maybe more. Okay. Both. If you work as a music teacher in primary or secondary. Wow. And in primary and secondary? Okay, yeah. When you're a singing teacher, maybe you work individually with children or with adults. Children? Adults?
Teenagers.
Teenagers, yeah, youth. Yeah, I forgot. Get on. Who is a choral singer? But everybody sings. Or did I forget someone?
Oh.
Something else?
Instrumentalist.
Instrumentalist, yes. Yeah. Others? Music publisher. Okay.
Teacher of teachers.
Teacher of teachers. Yes. It's even better, no? Yeah. I'm passing it up. Great. So this is the overview for this lecture. First, I tell you something about the project Children and Youth Choral Singing in the Netherlands. Then I will show you the blueprint I wrote, geefzangdoor.nl, pass singing on. And then the outcomes of 2 pilot projects I led the past 2 years. And then I will tell you something about the new Dutch network for children choir conductors. So how did it all started? During the pandemic, of course, we all realized that singing was difficult and less children were going to sing and less people would join the choir. So the Dutch Choral Association published the Recovery and Future Plan. And in that plan, it said that it's really important to improve the network for children to sing together, because in schools in the Netherlands they're not really singing. Teachers are afraid to sing. They're not used to it. There are no music teachers. In some schools there are, and it is getting better, but at the moment it's still quite rare. So the government gave us financial support, to improve this system and to improve collective singing for children. In April 2023 it started. And to start with the program we kind of had to make a picture of how was the system looking and where were the places that children can sing together. So that's the pyramid. It is in Dutch, but I try to translate it a little bit. So here it's a nursery and preschool. They can come together and sing together. In primary and secondary school, after school choirs, community choirs, and also on a higher level. So this is the pyramid we're going to talk about. And the blue and the green goals around it, are the things that that are really important for this pyramid. So if you improve these things, then the children can follow this route to maybe go to the top, but it's not a need, but it should be possible. There should be a route, there should be an infrastructure that the children can, if they like it, follow a route to join choirs and to sing. We all know why, and I'm not going to talk about that. And this blue part is focusing on a nationwide, visible and future-proof collaboration. And then it's about teachers, it's about the conductors, it's also about initiators who organize the system and who can work together. And from that pyramid, my project started in March, and I focused mainly on two elements: the children choir conductors and a singing group for every child. So we wanted to try some new pilots to see if we could change our way of working, or if we could learn from other places to create new children choirs or places where singing groups can start. And as a starting point, I wrote this blueprint, Geefzoomdorp.nl, Pass on Singing. And that's the first thing I'm going to talk about with you. This blueprint is a collection of knowledge and experiences from pilots, community singing groups in Purmerend, Amsterdam and Maastricht. During this exploration time, when we built this pyramid, we figured out that in these places we were actually doing the same thing, but we didn't know that. So we came together, we spoke about it, we learned from each other, and then we wrote together this blueprint. And it's an inspiration for setting up and organizing singing groups for children in schools, community centers, or kangaroo choirs. And maybe that's a new term for you. That is a youth choir in the pouch of the kangaroo from the adult choir. So an adult choir uses the system to build up the youth choir. It's similar in like the wind orchestras or the other orchestras in the Netherlands. They all have a youth orchestra, but the Dutch adult choirs, like almost no choir has a children choir. So we thought, there's a place we have to focus on. With the main goal of a platform for communities to make collective singing accessible for everyone. And then it's also focused on children who are not used to sing or go to the theater, or in areas in the country where parents don't have that much money, have lots of problems, and the child stays in that area and is not really going out of it. And we want to bring the singing to that child. So that's why we call it community choirs. And you can have a look to the website. There's a QR code and there's also a flyer later. For now it's still in Dutch, but in the future we will translate it to English. But I'm sure Google Translate can do also some things now.
Can I just ask a question about terminology? You use the terms children and youth, and which age groups are covered by children in the Netherlands? Which age groups are covered by using the term youth in the Netherlands?
Good question. Children, I think of primary, and youth, I think of secondary school, so from the age of 12 till 18.
12 to 18 is when you say youth, you mean that?
Yeah. Good question. Thank you. If there are other questions, please tell them. So for now, I translated a part of this blueprint for this lecture, so don't be afraid of the Dutch language. Where to start? Dream big, but start small. It is not a checklist or a step-by-step plan, but it is a puzzle, and everyone has to make their own puzzle because every situation is different. If the children are living close together, then it's easier to recruit more children. But if they live in small villages, then they need more time to travel, or then it's then you need to think different. But there are also a lot of common factors where you have to think of when you want to start a children choir. And these are all collected in a puzzle. I will show you in a minute. And this puzzle is based on the book Singfluencers from Annelore Kamps. She is from Belgium. And she created collective singing moments with more than hundreds of people together, mainly adults, just to enjoy singing together, like open singing sessions. And she wrote in this book how to organize these events. And I translated it to children, and I was inspired by the book. Okay, so this is the puzzle. There are 13 pieces. And each piece is one of the themes you can think of when you want to start a choir. And all together, you have quite a lot of information. And you can start. We're not going to look into all the pieces, but if you want to highlight one specific, please tell me. And maybe if we have time later, we can look to some others. Are there questions so far?
What is initiators?
Initiators.
Yes.
It's the person who has the idea and the dream that to make this choir, to organize. Yeah. And the most important piece is, for me, is the vision and values one, because it's the dream. It's your dream image of your choir. It's what you want to create, and it's what you want to achieve in a couple of years. And in some occasions, this step is not taken. Like people miss this step or don't think about this step. They just immediately go to, okay, where are we going to rehearse, and where can I find children? But first you need to know, what is your vision about it? What is your dream? How do you see the singing group, and what do you want to achieve? What are you dreaming of? And each dream is personal and is also changing maybe in the time, over the time. And the vision and values, that question is, why do you want to start this project, and how do you want to do that? It's really something you have to think about before you're going to put a lot of energy and time in it, because you have to work hard to do this. But you can also take small steps. Don't forget that. So this is about the initiators, the piece. Who will be responsible for the project, and are you the initiator? Or maybe someone asked you because you're the conductor, or someone heard, oh, you work with children, maybe you can organize this for me. Or maybe someone in the adult choir thinks, hey, I want this for my children. I want to organize a singing group for them. And then it's very important to find other people to work together with. Because if you do it all by yourself, it's going to be very hard and a lot of time. And I think I hear from a lot of children choir conductors that they work hard and that they do so many things in a week, and that they take also this responsibility of this group. But it's so good to work together and to share your qualities and your knowledge with other people. So that's what I really want to give you, like, do it not all by yourself, but find other people with the same dream and the same expectations. Are there questions about this piece, this puzzle piece? Or maybe ideas, or... No? Then I'm going to jump to a different one. I think the partners is also, I already talked a little bit about it, but it's good to think, who are you going to collaborate with? Or not. Maybe you meet someone and you think, yeah, you have great ideas, but they're not really my ideas, so maybe you should do your own choir and I will focus on my choir, and that's fine. But you need to think and you need to talk about it with each other, and it will also give you ideas of what you maybe not want. In the Netherlands, there's a structure of the local government who has a culture coach, and this person goes to all the primary schools and secondary schools and has also a connection with the cultural organizations like a music school or a dance school or the sports organizations like the football club, these kind of things. So the culture coach is someone who also has money from the government, who knows where you maybe can start. But I don't know if that's also in your country the case. If there is someone who is this spider in the web that you need to find. You can also think of social workers who are in the suburb, in the neighborhood, in the area where you can work with. And they maybe know more the ways how to talk to the people and how to communicate with them. So these are also really good people to talk with. You can think also of daycare, maybe after school programs. Want to have a nice activity? Well, then you can sing together maybe. So these are examples of partners you can find. And work together where it is possible. And I also wanted to show you the pedagogical approach. Because especially with the community choirs, you need to know a little bit more about that. You need to talk the language of these children, and the parents are also very important. Because the parents can take them to your location or to the concert or to the rehearsal. And it's also about how to create a pleasant singing climate. And then I think of the rehearsal, but I also think of after the rehearsal and the communication with each other. If you want to build like a choir family, then you need to think about it. Because it's a condition for learning, to feel part of something, especially for community choirs. It's important to have that. And we also hear that in the keynote this morning, that it's really important, even if you don't speak the language, that you, with singing, you can feel part of something. You can also involve the children by the organization. For example, in my choir school, we have a board of the youth, like it's a youth committee who thinks about special activities next to the singing. So sometimes we organize like a karaoke evening, or we do. We all bring nice food and we have like some nice chats together. We go on a camp and they organize team building activities. So the children also really want to help and are willing to do that. So don't forget them. And create an inclusive community in which every child can be itself, is seen and feels connected with the other children. Is there another piece that you would like to highlight or want to see? Right.
Maybe the volunteers?
The volunteers.
Because that's sometimes difficult.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Who will help you with the implementation and organization of the project? Well, I already told you about the risk that often conductors take a lot of time and parts of the organization. But parents or grandparents or maybe other people in the surrounding would like to help too. So in the Netherlands you also have like a volunteer bank, and people, mostly retired people, sign up for that bank and then they put a vacancy online like, hello, I'm this and this and I would like to do something for your organization. So that might be in your country as well, that you can find someone who can maybe make the lemonade after the rehearsal, or make sure that this person is at the rehearsal and the conductor can just focus on rehearsing and singing with the kids. But if someone has a bleeding nose or something else, this person can take over that care. At my choir school, we also have an activity work group, we call it like that. These are 6 parents who work together and who organize the food, the clothes, the all kind of things, like the first aid if needed. They are also at the part of the, they come to the concerts and they do lots of kind of things, and it's all volunteering. So I think you can think of these things. What is important? Build a team with the same dream and ideas. So then I come back to the vision and the values. You really need to talk about that with each other. And sometimes in some situations you don't think the same about things. And then it's okay, you need to talk about that. And you will figure that out. On the website there is also a list of tasks you can ask volunteers to do. So I won't go in detail to that now, but it is on the website. Is there another piece you would like to see?
Yes. It can be scary for me to see dirigent and artistic team. It sounds like you need a huge staff for the musical. Yeah. So when you say artistic team, who are part of that?
There it is. Yeah, good question. Well, it depends how big your choir is and how many groups you want to start. Start small, so first with one group, and then you need a singing coach maybe, or if you are connected to an adult choir, you can use that conductor maybe. And the artistic team is actually also a pianist maybe, or a musician you want to hire for a performance, or maybe you have a concert together with another choir, then you work together for that project.
Okay, yes. So
it's not, it depends on how big your choir is.
You don't need a staff of 5 people in an artistic team. No, I wasn't.
No, to start with a singing group, for example, after school, well, you need your singing coach and maybe a teacher from the school or a parent who is there to help you out. And then the singing coach is responsible for the music.
Okay.
And the singing and the pedagogy. Yeah. Other questions? Okay, well, if they pop up, please let me know. Then we go back to my... So we spoke about Geef zo'n door, the blueprint, and this was the base of a singing group for every child. We organized in Tilburg a pilot to organize community choirs. I'm going to talk a little bit about the project and then also the outcomes connected to the puzzle pieces. What was the aim? Make singing accessible for every child, and to also research on what works and how to improve. And the steps we took, so Artfact and Factorium, well, I cannot point so many places. Well, to bring singing as close, we wanted to bring singing as close as possible to the child. So we started with workshops in a school. So 650 children were able to join these workshops from a couple of singing coaches who are already working in Tilburg, so in that city in the south of the Netherlands. Then after a couple of these workshops, the kids could join after school singing workshops for free. And then it was the dream to combine these after school choirs to community choirs in the neighborhood. So from in the school to out of the school after school, and then into the area where they live. There was also a collaboration with an existing youth choir, Souvenir Jeugdkoor. So the conductor also gave the singing lessons, but they also had some presentations together and a workshop day together. So the children who joined the community choir were able to connect with children who were singing for more years already. And that was a really nice combination. In this project, we also wanted to see what infrastructure already was there in Tilburg and how you could use these puppets, these people, to create more community choirs in the city. So they did it in 3 areas, and all 3 areas had, we call it krachtwijken. So they're areas who have chances to improve and chances to grow better and to improve the infrastructure there. So I already talked about parents who don't have enough money or have a lot of other problems, so that the child cannot go to the music school or cannot go to the theater. And so they picked these specific areas in Tilburg to make sure that these kids also could sing together. There was a project leader involved, the culture coach I told you about, the schools in that area, and the singing coach. And then there were also a couple of more people involved. And in the end, that made it also quite a big project. And yeah, it was in the beginning good, but maybe for the future, some people need to go out of the project because it's too many. The step was also to remove restrictions and barriers, so the children could join for free. It was nearby the child, and when there was a workshop day in the city center, they organized transportation, so they helped the kids to bring them to the city center. And it was really, the singing coaches were really focusing on the child's interests. So the child's experience with singing, and they also asked like, what music do you like and what music do you listen at home, and from there they broadened the horizon. So this was the project, and I can show you a short video about a workshop they did it together, and we're going to try to put the English subtitles underneath because YouTube is fantastic. Otherwise it's in Dutch. 1 minute. Yeah.
Ik ben Jana, ik ben 9 jaar oud en ik zit op de Ready Rotterdam liggen achterschool. Nou, ik vind zingen heel leuk en ik zit ook in het koor en ik dacht ook, ik kreeg een soort van uitnodiging en dan dacht ik van, leuk om mee te doen.
Waar komt het vandaan, het zingen?
Kinderen voor kinderen, heel veel liedjes, die zingen wij dan ook altijd in de klas. En dan denk ik ineens zingen is superleuk. Thuis heb ik soms, zet ik dan op de tv van een liedje op, wat ik dan ooit heb gehoord. En dan denk ik van een leuk liedje. Dan zing ik dat ook nog mee.
En welke liedjes vind je speciaal leuk?
Engelbewaarde. Ik vind liedjes waar een beetje verdriet in zit, vind ik ook wel altijd leuk.
Odo.
Ik ben Jana, ik ben 9 jaar oud en ik zit op de Ready Rotterdam liggen achterschool. Nee, zingen is superleuk. Thuis heb ik soms, zet ik dan op de tv van een liedje op. Ik vind liedjes waar een beetje verdriet in zit, vind ik ook wel altijd leuk.
Is this bigger?
Ik ben Eva, ik ben 9 jaar, ik zit op het centrum en ik doe mee met Stemmakers. Omdat ik het heel leuk vind om te zingen in een groep, omdat ik dan niet alleen ben en omdat ik dan misschien ook bekende mensen tegenkom.
Noem eens een paar dingen die je zo leuk vindt aan het samen zingen.
Je kan vrienden tegenkomen die ook goed kunnen zingen. Je hoeft niet bang te zijn dat je ineens een toon hoger of lager gaat, want dat horen ze toch niet, want je zingt toch in een groep, dus dan valt het tot op.
Als je nu hier in die grote groep zit, wat voel je dan precies als je aan het zingen bent?
Ja, dat het gezellig is. En dat bijvoorbeeld andere kindjes, die kennen het liedje nog niet, dus dan kan je het ook tegen die kindjes zeggen.
Nog een keer. Doe, idee.
Ja, daar ben ik dan super trots en daar blij van. Ja, dus het maakt mij echt trots. Sowieso altijd natuurlijk, maar op zo'n momenten, ja, dan zie ik ook dat zij daarvan geniet en ja, dan geniet ik gewoon helemaal mee. Ik zie het aan haar houding en haar uitstraling. Ze vindt het echt leuk om te doen.
Wat doet deze plek met je, dat je nu hier bent? Wat doet dat met je?
Nou, dan lijkt het alsof ik al gewoon een volwassen ben die eigenlijk in een koor zingt.
Hoe vond je het dat de papa's en mama's erbij waren?
Nou, dat vond ik leuk, want dan heb je ineens zo gewoon heel veel onbekende mensen als publiek. Want dat is in het echt meestal ook. Ik voelde me best wel trots.
Ik kon echt zien dat hier allemaal kinderen bij waren die er echt passie voor hebben en voelen. Iedereen deed echt heel goed mee en heeft echt laten zien dat ze het leuk vinden.
That was one of the singing coaches in the end. Are there questions about this project? Was it easy to follow with the English? Okay, great. Thank you, YouTube.
Can I ask a question? So you do this bottom-up start in the schools and then going to these local choirs and then ending up in like one choir. Do you feel you lose a lot of children on the way that maybe should have made it to the last choir, or how do you handle that?
Yeah, that was one of the outcomes actually that was difficult. In each area they found, like in one area the music teacher already had a choir in the school, so that became bigger. So in that area it was already, like, she wasn't well known, the children knew her, so they trusted her to join. But in the other areas there were really new choirs, and the singing coaches found it difficult to connect and to find the way of communication, and especially the parents were difficult to reach. And so that's something we don't know the answer about yet, but there are some ideas to really make sure that this connection is better between the families actually. Yeah, so it was hard. So they started with 650 kids, and then I wrote it down somewhere, I think. I think in the end, 650 kids started with the workshop at school, and then 100 children joined the after-school workshops, so that's already way less. And then half of that group is now part of a singing group. So for 1 year, it was less than a year, I think 9 months, 50 kids are now singing in like a weekly base. And there are now talks between the several organizations how to follow this project up, how to organize it for next year maybe. Yeah.
But you feel these 50 children are really going to keep on singing? So.
I hope so, yeah.
No.
Yeah, I think the seed is there, like, but you never know how it will grow, but at least these 50 children find a way to, like a place to go to. Yeah, maybe if they do another workshops in the schools next year, then these 600 kids realize, oh, yeah, okay, last year I liked it, I like it again, maybe I'll go after school now. Yeah, but there are so many reasons why a kid is not going. Like maybe they go to football already, or maybe they have homework class, or I don't know, or maybe the parents didn't read the information well, they didn't understand, and then the child wanted but didn't get the right information. So there are so many important things we can learn from still. Yeah. Thank you for this good question, Marlee. Back to the puzzle. We wrote a report, and in this report we can pick out some learning points, like needs to make this project successful for another time, and other people can learn from. And I will connect that to the website as well. Well, we're not going to do all the pieces, I think, but what do I want to say? Yeah, so the starting point was really good to have this infrastructure with Artfact and Factorium, with the culture coaches, the singing coaches. They knew where to find the schools. They had the connection already. So for the starting point of this project, I think it really worked. But during the project, there were so many people involved that the communication was difficult, and that some people were like a bit lost in the project. And especially with community choirs, you have to focus on the child and the parents and the connection with the singing coach. And if you have so many people involved who think, oh yeah, it's the responsibility of that person or from that person, then the information won't reach the people you really need. So for the beginning it was good, but in the future they won't work together with so many people. Well, speak the language of the area made it really clear that some information didn't reach the right person. They also hired a videographer to make these videos and interviews. There will also be a longer video published soon. And I think that's really great, because then you can pick parts and you can show that to the children and to the parents. And then they have more of a, they know more what it is. And maybe then they also want to join. Well, and in this case, it was a combination of initiators, and all these people worked together well. Or they tried at least. Well, the location, yes, close to the child works, because then some children who never sang together came. So that's a good starting point. And if you want to get them out of the area, you really need to organize that. The parents won't do that. They won't go to the city center if they're not used to that. The musical content was focused on the child's interest, so they really tried to feel, okay, what is the starting point, and how am I going to learn them sing? For some singing coaches it was a bit challenging, because they worked with classical children choir repertoire, and then they had to go to these schools where the children never heard of these songs, and then it's hard to find the balance in quality singing and focusing on I don't know, more higher level music than to easier songs and to the songs from the radio, for example, who are not really written for children voices, so that's difficult. The connection with the parents is really needed and was missing in parts of this project. So we learned, we need the parents. Yeah. So maybe go also sing with the parents, and then they know what to do. you need really good, passionate educators. So not only conductors, but also pedagogues. So you need to, speak the language of the group. The goal worked, so the workshop days and a couple of presentations together with the other choirs. You need a variety in activities, in repertoire, fun games. Oh, this we spoke about. Yeah, so go to the school and then connect also with existing youth choirs. And the financial support from the government was really crucial in this case because there were so many people involved and they all had to do a lot of work. So it costs a lot of money. Yeah, so my advice for the future, please government, put some more money into this because it's really important to build and to improve the infrastructure. And to make it also accessible for the children to join, so a low fee or even free. Yeah, yeah, and we spoke about this already. The social connection is really important, and you need to find a balance between fun and also quality. Are there questions about these outcomes? Yeah.
Can I ask, how did you organize transportation? Like, how did that work?
Yeah, that's a good question. In some parts of the Netherlands, you can, as a school, you have access to a discount for the bus. So you can hire a bus for the children to go to the swimming pool or to the theater. So there are some fundings for that. We also put it in the budget. So that was covering the buses. And volunteers can also help with that. Yeah, so maybe other parents can take note of that.
And do you have certain location, the bus picked up from these 3 schools?
Well, for now, the community choirs were kind of based around one school in that area and one school. So yeah, they worked together for that. Yeah, but they also found that because one of the workshop days was on a Saturday, that was more difficult to get the kids to the city center, and to. Yeah, so they expected more kids to come. Yeah, so it's still something to improve. Okay. Thank you. Another question?
About the finances, it looks expensive. I mean, there are also people who have to be paid. Mm-hmm. Conductor, singing coach, accompanist, etc. Is all this covered by local government support?
In this case, it was part of the funding for the Project Youth.
Okay, yes.
So we had I don't know the exact number. Maybe Ruben knows the exact number.
For this specific project in Tilburg, it was about 40,000.
40,000, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, for 1 year project. But then you're also talking about these organizations who has their people with contracts. But if you want to do it by yourself, for the kangaroo choirs, it was a different number. Each choir had 7,000 euros for a year. So then it's a different amount.
Yes.
And
7,000 euros per year. Does that cover the cost of a conductor or a singing teacher?
Well, yes, but then also you need to have a fee for the children. So they need
yes.
Yeah. So then it's not for free. Yeah. And there are in the local government fundings, especially for if you put it in a more community building way for the social side of singing, then there are possibilities to get some more money. But then you also need to be inventive, and every year you need to apply for new funding, and you have to write a new project plan. So that takes a lot of time. Yeah. So the infrastructure in the Netherlands is not as how I would like to see it, but yeah, it can improve hopefully. Other questions about this project?
Yes, about these finances.
Yeah.
Because it is always a difficult point with everyone. So, did you have a separate team doing that, or how did it work? Because I can imagine if you have this idea and you found your vision and your values, and you even found your cultural, artistic partners, or maybe your volunteers, but then you need this person. I think that's all the finances. How did you go for that, or was it organized already within the organization? I don't know.
Yeah, so at Artfact there was one of the coordinators who wrote the whole plan. So she knew, she is used to making budgets, and she also worked for an organization who actually gives funding. So she knows a lot about it. So that was
the thing is, you should find that person.
Yes. It's really important. Because the money is making things so much easier.
Yeah. Maybe for clarification, Artfact is like a local amateur art support organization in Tilburg.
Yeah.
So they're really used to this kind of infrastructure work. So that helped.
Yeah, that really helps. And we will see in the future if they will step out or if they will join still. So, thank you, Marlene. Good question. Some other? No? Okay, then we go to the kangaroo choirs. So the kangaroo choirs are the children choirs in the buidel, in the pouch of the kangaroo, of the adult choir. First, this project was focused on bringing the singing to the child in the community choirs, but also to use existing infrastructure to maybe copy that for a children choir. So luckily we got some money, and we could pick 6 adult choirs in different places in the Netherlands. And when we read their motivation, we checked if there's a plan. Did they think about it already? Or is it just, let's try? Or did they already have a vision or a wish for a children choir? And we also checked if the organization around the adult choir was okay enough to put some extra on it. And 6 choirs were selected. And when we started, they all followed an online training by me when we used the website. So Pass On Singing was used, and we filled in the puzzle pieces for them. And each organization did it differently, and it was really great to see, because also the identity of these adult choirs were very different from each other. There was a pop choir, there was also a church choir, there was a choir who always do the big choir pieces like the Matthäus, the Johannes, the Carmina Burana, and they really wanted to have a children choir for these pieces. So there were several reasons why these adult choirs wanted to join. And then during this period we had a couple of sessions online with check-ins, and they could talk to each other and to me and to the coordinator, and to ask lots of questions, and also to give an update about how it was going. So how many children joined already, or how did they do the advertisement around the project, or what name they found for the children choir, or these kind of things. Finances was also a topic we spoke about. And at the last check-in we spoke about the future. So how are you going to continue with your choir after this funding stops? And that was, for some of the choirs, I don't know how to do that. But they found a way, and 5 of the 6 choirs will continue after summer. So that's a really good outcome, I think. And they also started. So there's one kangaroo choir who didn't start, and that's the choir in Schiedam, Romskoor. Unfortunately, there was just one initiator who was really passionate about it, put a lot of energy and time in it, but didn't find the right collaborations in the surrounding. And then we also figured out the infrastructure was not really working there. And he didn't get help from the other singers in the adult choir. So at some point he said, okay, I tried everything. For now it's not going to happen. So unfortunately, that kangaroo choir didn't start, but the other 6 were quite successful actually. For example, Vocal Flavor, they're in the middle of, a little bit higher than Utrecht, of the country, sing Koorschool Zeewolde. So they built a real choir school. They didn't only build a children's choir for 7 till 12, but they have several groups now, also adults and different styles of music. So they really made it big and started quite big as well. Then you have in Emmen, it's in the north, Magnificat, and they also built a choir school, Koorschool MM. They focused on the children choir and also on music theory lessons, so a preparatory class in schools with a cembalo, it's called in English. So they use a method to teach them also the language of music. And then these kids can grow and go to the children choir. So hopefully in a couple of years they have also several groups and several ages and level. Lofstem Emst, they had a really great start. They started with 45 kids, all in the age 5 till 9, so quite young. And they were quite overwhelmed by that, but they still sing. They're still this big group, and they are connected to the church. So maybe that part also helped. Maybe the community was already big enough to find these kids. And what is nice, there are 2 churches involved. So it's also a connection between these places. And then you have in Zeeland, Vlissingen, Zeeuws Concertkoor. They organized together with a music school, a children choir. So the music school organizes the rehearsals, is a location, and they also do the PR, so the advertising of the project. And the adult choir, they are always, one of them is at the rehearsal to see how it goes, to talk with the parents, and to have a link with the conductor. So these are all different stories, but apparently it all works, so it's really cool. Are there questions about this project? Yeah.
Did they do concerts together, the adults and the children?
Yeah, some of them did. Yeah. So, for example, the Koorschool Emmen, they organized a Christmas concert, and then the sopranos and the altos of the adult choir sang with the kids. So then there was a connection. A couple of them will have now, in this time, some presentations. And, I forgot to talk about the vocal group. Yeah, so some found a connection with each other. Yeah, yeah. There's also this Popcorn Lev. They took a challenge. They focused on the teenagers, so 14 till 18. And it was quite a challenge. So they had to do a lot of work, had to advertise a lot, had to find the language of these teenagers. And now they have 9 teenagers singing together. 2 boys, and they're really happy. And they're friends now, so it's a really warm group. And they really want to grow, of course, but yeah, that takes time. Yeah. Some other questions? Well, we go to the puzzle pieces for this project as well. And some are similar, but some are also a bit different because the situation is different. Well, the partners, like the successful kangaroo choirs, they all found a place in the area where they could work together with. So music school, they also had a connection with the school or with the vocal coach. They all spoke with them to see where they could find funding or where they could say to start going into a school. Then the communication, they did the advertising in a local newspaper. They printed flyers. Some of them built a website, created a logo, and they also, especially the the teenage group, the vocal group, they organized an open rehearsal, and then they started with 5, and then after that open rehearsal they had 9. So that was really a good idea, and they want to do that more to grow. Yeah, in this case, the initiators were the passionate singers from the adult choir, and for some of them, actually all of them said in the interviews at the end, like, oh, it is so much work and we need to put so much time and energy in it, but it's worth it. It's so great to pass on this seed of singing, this passion to the next generation, and maybe in a couple of years they will join us in our choir. Well, they have to wait in some cases for a long time, but yeah, and they also gave the advice, share your work and make a plan before you start, because yeah, there are some new things coming to you and you need to yeah, be aware of that. Yeah, so again, close to the child. Actually, all the kangaroo choirs chose to pick a different rehearsal location than the location of the adult choir. And in the beginning I thought, well, you already rehearsed there, then you have the connections, why not use it? But then in the start they all thought, okay, we need to bring singing to the child. So maybe this rehearsal place is difficult to reach for the children. So then in Emmen, for example, they chose to go to the elderly home in the area, and now they also give concerts for the people who live there. So that's a nice connection as well. And they chose for that place because the church where the adult choir rehearses is quite big, and they thought, okay, that's maybe a bit overwhelming for the children. The musical content, yeah, it's connected to the identity of the adult choir. So the vocal group is singing pop music, and the choir in Zeeland will hopefully in the future sing the Carmina Burana. So it's a different kind of repertoire, and you also need to build up the level of the children in a different way when you use different music. Yeah, the volunteers in this case were a committee of the adult choir. So each organization had like 3 people who worked together and also attended rehearsals of the children's choir. What also was surprising for me was that actually all the choirs chose someone different than the conductor of the adult choir. And I think the reason is that you really need to connect with children, with the age level and the language. And some people can do that, can do both. But apparently these conductors didn't felt experienced enough, maybe. So yeah, I'm curious how that will be in the future. Make a serious plan because it costs a lot of time. And also starting during the years, it works well. I thought maybe you have to start in September, but that was too early for this project. So most of the choirs started around November and even January. So they really needed to have the time to think this through and to plan in a good way. This is the same variety and activities, repertoire. We all know that it's important for kids. And also adults, actually. This is the vision, has the passion for singing to the future generations. The singers, so one group focused on the 12 to 18 years, and that was quite challenging. They found a way by giving them an experience, and then maybe a friend will join, and then because they're really focused on peers, and yeah, they also tried to put a video on TikTok, and they did some interviews with the singers, and well, hopefully that will spread it out a little bit more. The other choirs all focused on the younger age, so the children, and that was easier to reach them. the finances. Well, one choir, Sing Koorschool Zeewolde, they built up a whole new system, so they also could start in a different way. So the adult choir, the adult singers, are now paying a small amount of money, €3 a month, or to help a child to sing. So I think that's then it's really a kangaroo choir, because then it's a real connection, and hopefully they will also see each other then more as a family. And yeah, so for me that was a new idea, and I'm happy that we learned from that. Local funding is really needed, also in these cases, and they had to think of a good fee. So the fees are between €5 each month or €5 a rehearsal. And one other choir started with €90 for a whole year. And I actually think it's quite, you can ask a little bit more, because the conductor needs to be paid fair. So we also give that to them, like, okay, for now this is okay to start, but you really need to also focus on your artistic team. So think of finding maybe funding so that you can pay more to your artistic team. Yeah. And build a community, focus on a social connection. That's really important. I hope you can still read it, it's quite small. Yeah, are there questions about these outcomes? It's a lot of information. Maybe later. Okay, I'll go back to my overview. So we spoke about this part. But we also need new or very passionate choir conductors for these children if we want to give them more chances to sing together. So in the past 1.5 years, I focused on creating a network for children choir conductors. And how did I do that? Well, it was a network for conductors, but also music teachers are welcome, or singing teachers, or the initiators, the organizers for the children choir. So the people in the board are welcome. And it's quite a challenge to reach all these people, because the conductors are all working on their own island, and they are quite busy. They do the children choir, but they also have other projects. So to find all of them was difficult. But now we have like a newsletter list of 150 interested people. So I think that's quite a nice number of people. Well, why? Well, conductors feel alone, want to meet colleagues to get inspiration and learn from each other. Well, that's also why we are here in Tallinn now. And we want to organize that also in the Netherlands. And the children choir sector is quite small, but people are far away from each other. So I organized online meetings and also physical meetings to exchange repertoire, ideas, story of inspiration. So every time there was someone with a nice story to give that inspiration. For example, one of the kangaroo choirs or one of the community choirs in Tilburg. And I also gave an update about the project, so what was going on. I wrote a newsletter, so every 3 months, I think. They also got a training about the geefzangdoor.nl, and we organized a panel of experts. 7 experts who are quite experienced in working with children choirs, spread out of the Netherlands. We came together and we brainstormed about the future of choral singing for children. Yeah. And that was quite inspiring, and also a lot of ideas came, and now we need to figure out how we get funding for that and how we organize that together, because the choir conductors are quite busy already. So there's someone needed to organize that. And last but not least, I want to tell you something about the Echo Festival. This was quite of a new project that we organized. It is a festival for children to sing together, but also for the professionals. And we organized it in May, the 17th of May. It was a little bit inspired by Europa Cantat Junior in Ghent, because Roland Poldervaart and I were also there, and we saw these children singing together, and we thought, oh, okay, we need to do this in the Netherlands too. So we organized ateliers in different age groups. We invited conductors who are inspirational and work a lot with these ages. And they worked together for the whole day, and at the end of the day there was a presentation. There was also an open singing session in the beginning, and we invited Nieuw Vocaal Amsterdam. That is a really big, high-level choir school in Amsterdam, and they won last summer gold and a couple of prizes in Hungary, and I think at the moment they're also in Prague doing some competitions. So we are proud of that choir, and we wanted the kids see that choir too, to get inspired. And it was a really nice combination, and everybody was really nice to each other, and they sang beautifully together, so that was really nice. A side program was for the music teachers and the conductors. We had several workshops about different themes, like how you organize your stage performance, or how do you work in a method to let them grow in their singing, and other stuff. Also how to organize a choir. So that was more like a lecture like this. And we already have plans for next year. And before I show you the video, I quickly went through this, but maybe you have also questions about the project Youth for the conductors. Is it all clear? Okay, that's great. So that was the first edition, and hopefully there will be more and more and more. And then in a couple of years we maybe extend it to 2 days or 3 days, and then everybody, all the children can come from all the places in the Netherlands. That is our dream. Yeah, so let's see. But we have to start small. I went quite quick through everything, but maybe you have questions, or maybe you want to see the puzzle again. We can talk a little bit more about that. Maybe you have some ideas to add, or maybe you want to share how it is organized in your country, in your region, so that we can learn from that as well. A question, yeah.
A question, but it might not be a nice question. So you mentioned that you were going to do 6 kangaroo choirs and 5 of them started. And I want to ask what happened to the 6th one? Like, have you what went wrong, or is there anything we can learn from that?
It's a good question, yeah. I think one of the main things is that it was just one initiator and one person who was passionate about it, and he didn't we really tried to connect him with other people, but it really didn't really work. And he was part of the board of the adult choir, but during this year, I don't know why, but he quit that position as well, so maybe there was something else also involved. And then, so if you want to do it alone, that's quite hard.
So all of the others had a whole group?
Yeah, they all had a committee that was part of the board of the adult choir or passionate singers who joined. Yeah. So that's one of the important outcomes, I think. Don't do it alone. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, and one other thing I think that was important. He went to all the schools. He also put things in a newspaper. He also talked with the vocal coach at that time. But the infrastructure in that place is just a bit difficult. It's close to Rotterdam, and in Rotterdam there is a lot going on already. So I think a lot of children go there. Yeah.
Thank you.
Because I missed half, I went to the conducting class. Would you mind maybe putting a slide where the kangaroo information is? Because I would just, maybe I get some question to ask. But I don't know, or anyone from the room, like, is it something that's does it exist in other places in Europe, like this sort of system that adult choir have there? Is it like, does anyone else have something like that? Because I haven't really heard in Estonia, maybe only in I don't know if we have this Ellerhein or the big ones, and then we have the youth choirs, but I come from South, I have an adult choir, and I think there's there's really only if there is a children choir, it's in the school, but it would be a really nice idea to make this system work. I'm just curious, if it's happening in other places.
In Spain, in the Basque country, there's a lot of culture about choir, and there's organizations that government put money into that, and it's the main choir, and then the youth choir, the children's choir, the elder people that don't work,
retired,
yes. And Gregorian choir, there's an organization, a lot of types of choir, but it's not. It's a very good plan, but it's not common. It's but
they are focused on themselves a little bit more than
yes,
working together.
Yes, but it's a good plan, but it's because in the Basque country, I don't know if you know, but they are a little bit like Estonia, that they were repressed, and they sang in choir for their Yes, for the join.
Yeah, for the.
Yes. Government put a lot of money in culture and in choirs. So it's a lucky place. But in other places of Spain, it's not like that.
Maybe I want to share just something. Like, if I think about Flanders, Belgium, the choirs that are very successful long term are mostly choirs that are already a family. It's where I work, it's like children growing into youth choir, growing into adult choirs, and then you get all the time these new young voices joining the adult choirs. And I think a lot of adult choirs are actually looking for that because they grow together old. And then they say, we want young singers, but how do we start? So I think this idea of kangaroo choirs is a very beautiful idea to take along and let's do something with that maybe in more countries, because it's very interesting. And especially if you say there's the connection of the adult singers that maybe sponsor a child, this kind of idea, and we can do something together and we can have a concert together and the children or the new choir can sing maybe only 4 songs, but be part of that. So I think that is a very good idea.
Some choirs are now struggling a little bit with this gap between the youth will sing, but then they go to study, then they become parents, and they work hard, and then then they're 40, and then they might join. But this gap is something new we have to look into, I think, and then we have the whole range. But this is a beginning for that. Yeah.
That's just an example. In Germany, I know a choir where they have young parents and they have children care during their rehearsals. So very smart idea, I thought, to have the young parents, because that's always a problem. They don't have time.
Yeah,
so.
they want to, but they don't have time.
And it's good for the children because they have, of course, children care where they're doing music. So win-win.
And then the kids can also sing maybe at the same time.
Perhaps. Or they hate it because the parents think.
Hi, thank you so much. It's really, really inspiring and also exhausting at the same time. So it's the dream big, start small. I'm trying to keep.
Yeah. That was also
my question is, and this could be very dependent on each school. How was the project received in the schools that people approached? And I don't know what value and place music has in the curriculum in the Netherlands.
It depends on in what school you are and also in what class you are.
Okay.
So if a teacher likes to sing, is not afraid of singing, then the kids will sing. But if they then the next year go to a different teacher, then maybe they won't sing for the whole year, or they will sing along to YouTube. So it's, but there are also schools who have a music teacher and who have lessons every week or every 2 weeks. So it really depends on the identity of the school. But the schools who were connected to the community choirs, only one had a music teacher and the other not. And I think the communication with the school can be improved as well. Yeah, so I think we need to educate the teachers a little bit more that how important singing is. And in the academies for the general teachers, they built kind of a project the past few years with also money from the government to sing more with them. But now they are cutting things again. So we built and then okay, but let's not go there. So it really depends on who is there and if the principal of the school also likes music, then yes, come here and do your thing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, but do I get it correctly that you don't really have like music as a lesson that's obligatory? No.
Well, it's they say it's like. It needs to be part of your curriculum, but singing a song with YouTube is enough. So there are not really goals you have to reach. Okay. Yeah, I'm really sad about that. Yeah, I really want to change it, but I don't know how. And I think yeah, in some schools it's going well, but there's not really a line. Like I lived in Hungary and I saw how it was there, and I thought, huh? Whoa, these kids can do this when you really follow a program and when you really think of what you want to teach them. But in Maine, like in a lot of schools, I think it's about having fun. And, oh yeah, we dance to a song. That's music. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I was really impressed this weekend when I saw the song.
Well, because in Estonia, it's I think mostly until 4th grade, so 4 first years at school, it's 2 times music class per week. Plus choirs, if they, like normally they it's not obligatory, but mostly, well, a lot of kids go to, because until that age they still like to sing, but later, you know, there's this conflict, and but then still on we have like one music lesson per week, so there is a lot of like to learn all the time. I mean, so interesting. It's so different.
It's really different. Yeah, I think it's also part of our culture that is more focused on traveling around the world and economy and growing in that way. And then culture is an investment. But I think it's the best investment. But we all agree, I think. Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
In Italy, we have some situation like this the pyramid organization of choir, the adult choir, have youth choir, young choir, children choir, but it's not so. It's a few. There are few situations like this, but it needs a lot of organization. But in our region, I am in northeast of Italy. Our regional government, from 2 years, started with a law that allowed the choir association to make a partnership with the school of his city. Yeah. And the regional choral association have the money from the government regional to sponsorize this project. Now we are constructing a good network from all this project. We have our region is little. We have 1,200,000. As Estonia. 1,200,000 persons, but we have 400 choir in the association, and we try to work in this. And your information is very, very good for us because give an idea of
how to make
future.
Well, great to hear that. Thanks for sharing. And good luck also. It's quite a big project. Yeah. Well, thank you for listening, and thank you for being here and sharing your thoughts and your experiences. I have also some flyers with me. On one side, the Dutch language, and the other side is English. And there you can also find the websites. So if you want to look something up, you can find it here. And if you have questions, I'm here until the end of the festival. So have a great day, and see you around. Thank you.
Che dobbiamo fare? Ti chiarisce le idee. Una volta ti dice dobbiamo.